What do we mean by value-based recruitment? For me, it's two things. How do we attract people who align with the organisation's values? How do we find people like that? And then the second thing is, how do we demonstrate our values, the values of the organisation, throughout the recruitment process? And whilst lots of people focused on the first one, I think less attention is given to the second. How do we demonstrate our values? Now, actually, whatever your recruitment process is like now, you will be unintentionally demonstrating your values. If you're really focused on efficiency, it looks like the value of efficiency is the one that you're demonstrating. And if your top value is creativity, I'd be expecting to see a wonderfully creative process for recruitment and engaging people. Or if your value was working together, I'd be surprised if you were relying on individual interviews to find people who align with the value of working together, because how can you see that? So it'd be much more likely, I think, that you'd be using things like workshops if your value was around working together. And recently I was asked by an organisation to review their recruitment process against their list of values. And one of their top values was choice and control for individuals supported. So it was very surprising to me to see that there was no involvement of people using services whatsoever throughout any element of the process at all. So there is a really important part of value-based recruitment, which is how are we demonstrating our values, and are we authentically and intentionally doing so? And then when we think about how we can attract people who live our values, I think the first thing is being really clear about what behaviours you'd expect to see and expect not to see in somebody who is demonstrating your values or aligned with your values. Because it's not something that you can just ask a question in an interview about somebody's values. If you look at Jackie Lefebvre's work, you'll see that although she uses slightly different words, that your values are based in the limbic part of your brain and therefore are more unconscious than you might imagine. So therefore what we're looking for is how people express values through their behaviours. And therefore it's important to design a process based on what behaviours will we see where people are demonstrating these values and what behaviours wouldn't we see. So value-based recruitment starts with an understanding of what values are, that they're not simply things that we can profess or talk about. They're really deep in our limbic system, and we need to align values with the behaviours we'd expect to see and make sure our recruitment process is looking for those behaviours. And equally important, how are we demonstrating our values in the recruitment process from every step of the way, right through to induction.